We could talk about wholesaling, but the reality is I feel like there's so much information about wholesaling for the beginning investor. You have somebody who's gone and taken it that next step. And I find that very fascinating because a lot of people get started and with the information that's out there, they get going, but they get stuck in, as you were saying, grind mode. And it reminds me of like when I first started boxing. I remember my trainer, Ray Longo. He's like, man, you're doing great. He's like, but like, you can't keep doing that. I'm like, well, it's working. He's like, yeah, but you take five to give one. Like, that's not a sustainable boxing model. Like, you can't get hit five times to get the guy one good shot. Like, long term, that doesn't work. So you have to get better footwork. You got to learn how to kind of not just keep toughing it out. Like, being tough is good to get you going when things are hard, but then you really have to get smooth and efficient if you really want to scale this and grow this. And I've heard you talk a lot about being able to work 2 to 4 hours a week now and really build this by putting people, processes, KPIs, and accountability in place. So I love to talk about those different things. You mentioned some processes and some systems. Can you talk a little bit about what that transition was from going from the guy who was grinding an ad every day to actually putting systems in place that help you get some of your time and peace of mind back?
Yeah, it really ties in, Nick, with after this was what was probably 12, 13 years in the business. I just realized that I was kind of that light bulb moments when I was talking about what I wrote out on a piece of paper. And I just looked at things and I thought, man, this whole thing that I'm doing is all about me. And that was my big thing I realized is, really every decision came down to me. And I thought about that and just kept thinking, if I went away for a month, or whatever it is, the operation really would stop. I mean, there's certain parts would keep moving forward, but overall it would stop. And I thought, wow, so I really don't have a true company. I have a business, but I don't really have a company. And one of my mentors told me years ago, he says, there's a difference between having a business and having a company. And he says that, a company should be able to thrive and grow even if you're not around. I thought, wow. So I thought about that. And then it really just kind of light bulb went on. And I said, I got to change this. So that's the moment that I started looking into KPIs. I started going through, and what was crazy, we started looking at things, Nick, across the board and looking at every, really portion of the business. And then we started realizing that, oh my gosh, this is not being done. This is not being done. This is not being done. And we're like, this is nuts. I can't continue this. And you got to remember at that time, I had one of the gentlemen that had been with me at that time, been with me for over 10 years and was even the best man in my wedding.
Huh.
And we had to call him in and fire him. So it was tough. And because what we realized after we removed all the smoke and mirrors, that people were just getting away with stuff right and left. So we decided that, hey, we're going to go in, we're going to change this whole model. We went in, pretty well fired about 80% of the company and started looking at rebuilding from there. And that it was based upon, let's build a business that moves product and focus on the business structure to build that true company, right? To build that true, kind of assembly line approach on things, Nick. So that way, when we look at things, we look at you think about our business, whether you're flipping, buying hold, wholesaling, it doesn't really matter when it comes to that. That's just an exit, right? At the end. So what we looked at is how do we build an assembly line approach to this? So the goal was to go through, define each department along the assembly line, get clarity upon that, make sure we're putting the right person in each of the seats so they understand what their true responsibilities are. And then that would create consistency throughout the business. And that was a big transformation on